Hello again, friends. Today we are working on the third activity, Iteration Exploration, in the Arrays chapter of Learn to Code 2. I want to make a couple of comments here before we get started, and the first most important comment is that I know that arrays can be tricky. A lot of students have come and told me that arrays are one of the trickiest things to understand, and I just want you to rest assured that we're going to take a lot of time and show you a lot of different ways to kind of understand arrays. So stick with us, and if you haven't gone back and looked at our video on introduction here, on this introduction, or on the storing information chapter, then go ahead and go back and watch those videos. That'll give you a firm foundation before what we work on today, iteration exploration. And as we get started here, today we're going to be sort of introducing the idea of for loops and arrays. And these two things are intimately tied together, and the ideas of for loops and arrays working together are what make arrays as powerful as they are. They're a really powerful feature of any programming language. Anyway, that's what we're going to get started on today, and you'll see gradually see over the next 3 or 4 activities just how powerful these arrays can be. So let's get started, and we're actually not going to start here in the iteration exploration activity in Learn to Code 2. We're going to step out of this for just a minute and go over some of the basics here, and I think it'll help you with this particular activity. So I'm going to press the X up here and close out of this playground, and I'm going to come down here, see where it says See All in More Playgrounds at the bottom. I'm going to tap on See All, and up will pop all of the different playgrounds that are offered to you. And I'm going to come down here to starting points. Okay, here's starting points, and under starting points I'm going to scroll over to the left, and I'm going to choose this answers template here. And answers, I'm going to press the get button, and it's going to get me a copy of the answers template. And you can see one thing that Answers lets you do is just put in any kind of Swift code, and it will allow you to print output to the screen. So here's Answers, and just real quickly, I'm going to get rid of this second line here because that's not important for what we're doing today. Actually, I'm going to get rid of both of these second and third lines. Okay, and I'm going to run the playground here. And you can see that over on the right hand side in the panel, in the output panel, it printed out the string, what is your name, which is exactly what's in the show statement here, what is your name. Okay, so that's how this show statement works. It prints out whatever, it's a function, and it prints out whatever in the parameter that you pass into there. So let's try some other things here. Let's go ahead and make some variables and see if we can do that. So I'm going to make a string, let name equal Samantha. Okay, and I'm going to also make an integer, let my favorite number equal 3, and let's make a boolean too, and we'll say let choice equal false, something like that. And just to show you that we can use the show statement to print out different kinds of values, not just strings, but we can also print out integers and boolean values. And so if I say show name, for example, that should print in the right hand side the word Samantha, the string Samantha. If I say show my favorite number, that should print out the value of the integer in my favorite number, which is 3. And if I say show choice, that should print out the value of the Boolean variable choice. That actually might not work. Might not be able to print out Boolean values. Yeah, okay, so that I think is going to cause a problem. So we'll just delete that one for right now and try this. Okay, so there the show statement is printing out the value that's in the constant name, which is Samantha, and it's printing out the value 3, which is the value of the constant my favorite number. Okay, we could have just as easily made those variables and that will work just fine. Now, let's do this and talk about arrays a little bit just to show you what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and select all and delete this. And we'll make some arrays. Okay, so let's make an array called, so let's say let friends equal, and then we'll make an array like this. So Sylvia, separate my elements with commas. Sylvia, Kajetan, let's say here is Amelia, and Graham. Okay, so there are my 4 friends in here. And just to remind you a little bit of a review of what we've done in the past, an array is just a collection of elements. And in this case, since we made friends be a collection of strings, there are 4 elements in here: Sylvia, Kajetan, Amelia, and Graham, and each one of them is a string. But if I tap on friends here and look at help, I'm going to see that friends is an array of strings, and that's what these square brackets mean here, that around the string. It means it's an array of strings. So and just also, we learned this last time, you cannot mix integers or booleans or anything else. Once you have an array of strings, every element in there needs to be strings. If I had an array of integers, and let's try that here. Let's say favorite numbers is an array of integers here, so I have to put integer values in here. So I'll say 3, 7, 9, 4, and 99. Those are my favorite numbers. Now, how many elements does this have? It has 5 elements. Each element is an integer, and the elements are 3, 7, 9, 4, and 99. Okay, so now let's start talking about how do we process an array. And when we talk about that, what we'd like to do is do something to every element in the array. Okay, you can imagine that's a pretty popular thing to do. If you've got a bunch of bank accounts and you're running a bank and you've got a bank account for every person, and let's say the government sends some amount of money to every person, well, you're going to want to start at the first person, add that amount of money to their bank account, then go to the next person, add that amount of money to their bank account, go to the next person, add that amount of money to their bank account. And you don't want to do that one by one. We want to be able to use a for loop to loop through every element in the array. We call that iteration. We're going to iterate through every element of the array and do something to each of those elements. Okay, so the way we would do this here is, if I want to work with the element friends here, okay, I use what's called a for in loop. So I would say for, and then here's where I need to just put in any variable name I want. Okay, and I'm going to call this my variable name for some reason, yeah, we'll just call it name. So for name in friends. Okay, and then this is a for loop, so we're going to put in curly braces here, and anything we put in these curly braces is called a block. It's a block of code. Okay, so anything I put between these curly braces is a block of code, and it's going to be run, whatever's between this curly brace and this curly brace will be done to every element of the array. And if I need to use or reference that element, I'm going to use the variable name. Okay, so I could change this to anything I want. So I'll change it for right now, just to be silly. I'm going to change it to capital Q. For Q in friends, okay, if I do this, if I say show what's in Q, well, the first time through the loop, Q will be set to Sylvia, the first element. The second time through the loop, Q will be set to the second element, Cayetan. The third time through the loop, Q will be set to the third element, Amelia. And the fourth time through the loop, Q will be assigned the value Graham, the fourth element in it. So it's going to just basically, Q will be set to this, then Q will be set to this, then Q will be set to this, then Q will be set to this. This is that idea of iteration, that lots of times in programming we want to do something to every element in an array, and the way to do that is with this for something in the array name. So remember, friends is our array name, and so we're saying for each element in friends, do something to that. And in this case, all I'm going to do to that is show it. Okay, so I'm going to grab the name Sylvia, the first one, and I'm going to show it. Then I'm going to grab the name Cayetan, the string. Then I'm going to grab the string Amelia and show it. Then I'm going to grab the string Graham and show it. So if I go ahead and run this, I've shown all the names. So Sylvia, Cayetan, Amelia, and Graham in order. Okay, so it went through and it did something to this, did something to this, did something to this, did something to this. Okay, now just to sort of drive home this point a little bit, let's go ahead and comment this out for a second. I'm just putting comments in front of this for loop so it doesn't run anymore. And in fact, if I run this now, nothing appears on the screen because I've defined these friends, this friends array, and my favorite number array, but I'm not doing anything with it. It got loaded into the computer's memory, the friends array and the favorite number array, but I'm not doing anything to it. I'm not printing it, I'm not modifying it in any way, so it's not showing up in the screen over here. It will show up in these little four square icons here. If I tap on it here, I can see that, oh yeah, friends got loaded into memory, and it has four elements, Sylvia, Cayetan, Amelia, and Graham, and each one of these are strings. Okay? If I come here and I tap on favorite numbers icon, I can see that the elements 3, 7, 9, 4, and 99 show up there. All right? So I just wanted to show you something really quick here. What if I do something like this? Let a string equal hello. Okay, and then I come down here, and if I say let message equal whatever's in a string, which is the string hello, and I can do what's called concatenate or hook onto it another string, says Bill. Okay, now if I were to say show message here, if I were to say show message, it should take the string a string, add to it the string Bill, and it should say hello, comma Bill, because message is now what's in a string, and it concatenates or hooks onto the end the string Bill. So if I run this, now it says hello Bill is what's in message. Okay, so I'm just showing you concatenation here, and the reason for that is because down here I might want to do something similar to this. I'll uncomment this for loop now. Okay, and now maybe instead of saying show Q in here, let's inside this block, remember a block is what's in the curly braces, and this block is going to get executed for every element in the array friends. Maybe inside of here I want to go ahead and make this message be for a custom message for every one of my friends. So I could do something like this, say let friend message equal what's in a string plus Q. Okay, plus Q. And actually let's go ahead and change this. I don't like this variable named Q anymore. I'm going to call it name, for name in friends. So now I'm going to change this to be name also. And what's going to happen in here, instead of saying show Q, let's show friend message. Okay, so remember what's in A string is hello, comma, and inside this block now, for every element in here, every element in friends, we're going to make a new friend message each time, which is going to be composed of hello, comma, plus the name. And the name is going to be first Sylvia, first Cayetan, first Amelia, and first Graham. So let's go ahead and run this. And there it's saying the hello Bill because we still have our show message from here. And then inside this loop, name is being assigned to Sylvia. And then friend message is going to be hello, comma, plus Sylvia. And then we're going to show the message hello Sylvia. And then the next time through the loop, name is going to be assigned to Cayetan. And friend message will be hello, comma, plus Cayetan. And we'll show that message. And the next time through the loop, it'll be hello, we'll construct the friend message hello Amelia, and then last time through the loop we'll construct the message hello, comma, Graham. Okay, see how that works? So just to recap, this for loop, for in loop, you give any variable in here, any name you want, and we say for something in our array, and we will iterate through the loop using each element in the array. Okay, let's try something with favorite numbers. Okay, instead of doing that, real quick, we'll say instead of iterating through friends, I'm going to iterate through favorite number. Okay, so I'll say maybe for a number in favorite number, and let's go ahead and make that plural up here. I don't like that favorite number. It'll be favorite numbers. Okay, so for a number in favorite numbers, we'll get rid of this right here, and let's just start by showing a number. So this one is going to be iterating through our favorite numbers array, and first it's going to set a number to 3, then a number to 7, then a number to 9, then a number to 4, and then a number to 99. Okay, we'll keep the hello Bill message in there. There we go, 3, 7, 9, 4, 99. So we're iterating through each of those. Now, what if I wanted to do some processing to a number or each of the elements of favorite numbers? Well, I could do something like this. I could say let bigger number equal whatever's in a number plus 1. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 to each element as we go through this. So 3 will be turned into 4, 7 will be turned into 8, 9 will be turned into 10, 4 will be 5, and 99 will be 100, because we're setting each time through, a number is going to be 3 the first time through, bigger number is going to be 3 plus 1, and we're going to print out here bigger number each time. Okay, then the next time through the loop, a number will be 7, okay, the second element. We're going to say bigger number is going to be equal to 7 plus 1 or 8, so it should show the value 8. The next time through the loop, a number will get set to 9, so bigger number will be 9 plus 1, and it will show the value 10. And the last time through the loop, a number will have the value 99, and we'll say bigger number is going to be 99 plus 1 and show 100. So let's try that. Good. 4, 8, 10, 5, 100. Okay? So you're kind of starting to see the power of arrays and for loops here. For loops let us iterate, or for in loops let us iterate through every element in the array one at a time, starting at the first one, the second one, the third one, and so on to the end, and we can do some processing to it. And when you think about what kind of processing do you want to do to it, well, that's all happening inside these curly braces here. Whatever you put in here is going to happen to every element of the array one at a time. And we reference that element of the array by this variable name right here. Okay, so if I wanted to change this name, doesn't matter what you call it here, if I wanted to change this to be whatever, now whatever is going to get assigned the values 3, 7, 9, 4, and 99. And in here I would say let bigger number equals whatever plus 1. And that should work just fine. Okay? All right, now let's get out of here and go back to our activity in the Learn to Code activity. Okay, we're back now in the iteration exploration activity of the arrays chapter, and I'm going to just read through this so I get a picture of what we want to do here to solve this puzzle. The challenge, it says, is to iterate over an array, and we know that means to look at each element in the array and do something to each element of the array. And as we iterate over the array, we want to place a gem and a switch at each location. So it says, in the code below, you can use the columns array to place a gem and a switch on each column in the puzzle world. So let's take a look at the column array here. Here's the columns array right down here, and the columns array, I'm going to select help on it and see that it's an array of integers, and in this case it has 5 elements, and those elements are integers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the 5 element array of integers, and there's 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now back up here, it says we can use the columns array to place a gem and a switch on each column in the puzzle world. This process is known as iteration, and it allows you to perform an action or a set of actions even for each item in an array. So here's an example here. They say to iterate, use a for in loop, a type of for loop. So for current column in columns. And we saw in our last example, columns is the array we're iterating over. Current column will be given the element, the value of each element as you start at the beginning element, then the second element, then the third element, then the fourth element. Those will all be put into the variable current column. Okay? So what they're doing then is they're placing in the world a gem at column, current column each time. Okay, so if we look at this and we tap on this, this is column 0, row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2, row 1, column 3, row 1, and column 4, row 1. So if we put in a gem at current column 0 the first time through, that will put it here. If we put it at current column row 1, that will be current column 1. If current column was 2, it'll put it here. If current column is 3, it'll put it here. And if current column is 4, it will put it here. All right, so it says a for in loop runs a block of code for each variable in the array. And in the above example, current column is a variable that stores a value in the columns array. This value is passed into the column parameter right here, current column, of the place method to determine which column to place the gem at. So we want to complete the for loop that iterates over your array, and within the loop place a gem and a switch at each column. So in here, here's our for loop right down here. Here's our for loop, and we want to iterate, of course, over the columns array right here. So let's go ahead and put that in here. We want to iterate over the columns array, and I want to go ahead and say give this some variable name, and this variable name will be something like let's just try something really simple. Let's use the variable name just I. Okay, so just what's going to happen here is the first time through the loop I will be set to 0. The second time through the loop I will be set to 1. Third time through the loop, I will be set to 2. Fourth time, I will be set to 3. Fifth time, I will be set to 4. Okay, so we're going to be able to use I to hold the values 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 as this for loop goes through the columns array. And we can use that in here to say place a gem at column 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. And those are just referenced by the variable I. Okay, so I'm going to place a gem at column I, and I, the first time through, is going to be 0, second time it's going to be 1, third time 2, fourth time 3, and fifth time 4. And always will be, the row is 1. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try this, and we'll run it here. And it should place a gem at column 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. Okay, good. Now, that's not all we had to do here. We also have to place this comment here. It says place a gem and a switch there. So we can go ahead and also place a switch at each one of those by using the same command, world.place. But this time we want to make an instance of switch. And we'll say, let's do that at column, as long as we're at column 0, we'll place a gem, then a switch there. As long as we're at column 1, we'll go ahead and place a gem and a switch there. And as long as we're at column 2 and so on, we'll place a gem and a switch there and so on. So this is going to place a gem, then a switch at column 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 for every element in the array columns. Okay, let's try that. Gem switch, gem switch, gem switch, gem switch, and gem switch. 4. Nice. Okay, so let's just one more thing here just to reiterate that this I really is just this temporary variable name that's holding the value for this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, just to sort of emphasize that. Let's change this here to be something else. And I don't even like the variable name I because it's not very descriptive. So maybe I might say for a column in columns. Now a column is going to have the value 0, a column is going to have the value 1, 2, 3, and 4. And of course I don't want to be using the variable name I anymore. I want to be using the variable name a column. And also when I put it in here, a column. Okay, and let's change this around a little bit. And instead of doing it in order 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to do it 0, 2, 4, and then I'm going to come back and pick up 1 and 3, maybe. Okay, so we're not going to do them from start to finish. We're going to skip over 1 and skip over 3, and then we're going to come back and pick them up later. So it should go, here we go, let's run this. I'm going to put a gem and a switch at 0, then a gem and a switch at 2, then a gem and a switch at 1, then a gem and a switch at 3 or 4, and then a gem and a switch at 3. Okay, so I changed the order of columns there to go ahead and put them in some kind of crazy order instead. All right, so we're going to stop with this one, and then we'll move on next time, and we'll talk about stacking blocks. Remember, if you like the video, go ahead and give it a like, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and we'll see you next time.